everyone, happy Halloween and welcome to yet another installment of 5 even more Halloween games for your Halloween retro pleasure here. I'm just kind of amazed at this point that we're actually still able to dig deep and find like retro games that still fit like the Halloween mold. Like modern games, we could crank out like Silent Hills and Resident Evils all day and never run out of entries in that series, but we're still managing to find like legit old school stuff like cart and old disc and things like that. Like we just kind of went off the beaten path a little bit and put our heads together and came up with another 5 games for you to add to your Halloween rotation. So I guess let's get into the list, man.
Yeah,
let's get started. Cool. All right, so I guess we'll start with the oldest game. We'll start with the Elder Statesman here. This is one that I actually recently acquired, as you may or may not have seen on the most recent episode of Retro Game Haul, and that would be Uninvited, part of the trilogy between this, Deja Vu, and Shadowgate, from the same company, which were just PC ports. This, as I understand, was originally a Macintosh game, I believe, and was originally ported over to NES, and they actually kind of had to nerf things down a little bit and Nintendo-ize it, like get rid of a few pentagrams and some of the more explicit deaths. But we had a chance to check this out. It's an old school point and click, make no mistake about it, like many of those on Nintendo.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like thrown right into it, where your car crashes, you got to get out of the car and boom, there's the scary, creepy little house that you're mainly like exploring.
Finding your sister?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, you're looking for your sister basically, of course. And you're in the spooky old house and you're basically having to explore things, going into this room, going into that room, figuring out which items you need, adding them to your inventory. There's a lot of commands as far as stuff you got to do, like move, open, examine, use.
Yeah.
It's some of it's kind of tough to figure out. Like this, I think that this game lends itself a little bit better to the medium of PC point and click than it does to NES. Like using a mouse, I think would make this game infinitely easier. Like using the directional pad, it makes it a little difficult. It's definitely not unplayable. We're not trying to scare anyone away from it. It's a little bit of adaptation. But like right out of the gate, the first time we run into the scary bitch in the hall, like you die violently, where she like scares you and you fall and she like rips you to pieces or something like that.
Yeah, it even says you died.
Yeah, it does.
Says she rips you apart.
Yeah, she rips you apart. And there's another one where we got trapped in a jail cell. So, it's kind of an ominous thing where it's like the door slams behind you. I guess we didn't heed the warning first because that big guy was like, there's no life after this. Like, you come in here. He basically said if you come in here, you're going to die.
You get trapped.
And we didn't listen and just went in the jail cell, and it basically alludes to the fact that, you're starving to death and you die. Mm-hmm. So, like, each of your deaths in this are pretty fucking horrible as far as we're able to tell. But in your opinion, does it fit the mold of Halloween game?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's kind of creepy when the chick kills you because then it has, like, a skull face in a woman's wig with a hat, and then it just like the skull face turns pink or red.
Yeah.
And it just says you're dead. Like
Norman Bates' mom from Psycho.
Yeah.
She's like sitting in the chair.
So but what's good about the game is once you die, they place you a room prior to where you were at. And
it does feature a very active save state where you can save as much as you want. Like, you don't have to get to save points. It's right there in the main menu.
Mm-hmm. And you can save anywhere.
Yes.
Which is good.
It is. This is a game I would actually enjoy playing through to completion. It's the kind where you're going into a bit of a deep dive, and it's probably going to take a while to get through this, but I would feel a very strong sense of reward to actually complete a game like this.
Yeah. Because
it's a little off the beaten path, and honestly, I want to see how it ends.
I've never played a game like this. This is the first time I've ever even seen one.
Like a point and click?
Yeah, dude. That's just not my type of genre. But I was watching you play, and it's pretty cool. Like figuring out, like, okay, why don't you go there, click on that, open up the mailbox, just figuring stuff out, and once you figure it out, it's actually pretty cool.
It is. It's almost like the little mini segments of Goonies 2. Where you go into like the cavern or the cave or whatever, and you got to do like this, and that, or in Dr. Chaos, that has little bits of point and click stuff. So if you could extrapolate that to an entire game, you basically have Uninvited.
Yeah.
Much like we mentioned earlier, Shadowgate and Deja Vu, exact same type of game.
Yeah.
Exact same manufacturer and publisher and everything. So if you like those kind of games and you want to kind of walk the spooky haunted house horror path, the uninvited will definitely get you your fix.
Yeah.
So,
the only thing I recommend is that it has a map, because
you definitely need a map.
games like this is like, they're like dungeon crawlers with no map.
Yes, you need a map. But I'm sure that some sweaty bastard on the internet has already come up with these.
Sweaty bastard.
Just there's a map for everything as far as NES is concerned. Somebody has already thought of it.
Milady sweaty bastard did it. Yeah.
Yes. So, The Uninvited for the NES, not a prohibitively expensive game. $40 to $50 for the loose cart. You know, I mean, it's not out in the, come on, Sweaty. Like, it's not out in the stratosphere compared to what this fucker's paid for games. $40 or $50 actually isn't all that bad. So for kind of a niche game and definitely like a horror game, I think that's pretty cool. So
Check it out.
So next we're kind of going a little on the nose, you know, as far as one that's pretty obvious that this is Halloween centric, but there's a couple reasons that we're mentioning this one. Obviously, you know, it does fit the Halloween mold. Anything with zombies tends to fit the horror mold, but this one I think presents a few really cool options to the table that the rest of the games in this list and all the other games that we've talked about do not. That would be House of the Dead 3 for original Xbox, only on Xbox. Number one, this is a very cheap game, even right now. This is like a sub $10 game if you know how to deal. You can probably get it $8, $9, $10, something like that.
Wow.
So it doesn't cost that much. The second option is that it's light gun compatible. Like it says, you know, right there on the front. Sorry, I'm having to work backwards here. Light gun compatible, and on the back it's got the Mad Catz logo. So the Mad Catz gun apparently is like the gun if you're gonna have OG Xbox. Like that's what this thing was designed for, and it definitely transforms the experience. You can use the original controllers with it if you really want to do that. I don't know why you would. I mean, it's House of the Dead. It's a light gun game, you know. But as far as what this offers, you can unlock House of the Dead 2. So you do get kind of an extra game once you get far enough into it. It's a arcade perfect port of the House of the Dead 3, which is always good. And again, it's not that much money. I mean, it's like, you know, some people would say that, you know, House of the Dead 3 was like is the definitive version of the original trilogy, like it's the best of 3 games. I'm partial to the first one, even though it's the cheesiest.
Oh, really?
Like the acting, like, oh, there's James, oh, you know, it's so cornball, but nostalgia glasses, dude. Like, you know, I'm always going to be partial to that one, but this one visually is definitely the better of the 3 games.
And since I worked at Dave & Buster's, we had the arcade cabinet of this, and the guns actually aren't pistols or anything. They're actually green shotguns.
Yes.
That you have to, like, you know,
Pump and reload and everything.
So it was actually pretty fun.
Thank you for bringing that up. That reminds me. In this particular version, they basically engineered so that you do not have to reload. It automatically reloads for you. So you don't have to shoot off screen. You can just keep shooting, and you can see your dude, like the little animation where he pumps the shotgun or whatever to reload, happens automatically. So just make sure. We had a little bit of trouble getting my Mad Catz gun to work. I think, you know, we tried the calibration thing, and we just couldn't get it to cooperate. I'm thinking that based on what Miguel told me, it might just be I got a bad gun, but the guns don't cost that much. It's a little bit under $20 to get one. Just make sure you get one that's been tested and actually is working. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. So, House of Dead 3, that's a no-brainer on the Halloween list, and it's OG Xbox title, man. Do it.
Check it.
So the next one we've got is, in my opinion, a bit of a hidden gem. This is not a game that a lot of people are familiar with, and I think a lot more people should be familiar with this. It is by no means a AAA game. I'm not insinuating that at all. It's a B game, you know, I would say. But it's a good B game because it's not trying to be an A game. And that would be Ghost Hunter for PS2. So right out of the gate, I mean, dude, your dude is literally hunting ghosts. Like, if that doesn't fit the Halloween mold, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because this is the most actiony, you know, of the 3. You know, where it's, I mean, House of the Dead, obviously, you know, shooting stuff, but that notwithstanding, like, you can use regular guns, you have, like, pulse rifles and, like, kind of ghost hunting traps, you know, a la Ghostbusters that you gotta use, and you can do, like, the spiritual plane shit, you know, where you, like, this little ghost that's following you around kind of becomes like a revenant and everything, and can, you know, take corporeal form and all this other shit. And
yeah.
It goes very in depth as far as how this stuff works. It's not a prohibitively expensive game. What was it, like 40
yeah,
$50
40,
when we looked it up?
40,
I paid like 25 for my copy, but one thing we noticed was that a lot of the copies that were out there didn't have the manual for some strange reason. So if you're extra sweaty like we are and you want your games to have a manual, you know, make sure you check the listing first. But I thought it was pretty cool. We both had a chance to play it earlier. The controls take a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a little bit wonky, you know. But, I mean, what PS2 game really has great controls?
It starts off inverted, which I play inverted. That's just in my brain.
Not me.
But
we had a whole conversation about this.
Yeah, I actually I like the game. The other thing I didn't like was when you started playing as that ghost. What's it called? The Reverend?
We just like Astral Plane is what
Astral,
they call it.
Yeah. The controls were all funky, and I just thought like it was so different from what the game was. I thought the game was.
He was having trouble flying around.
Yeah, it's weird. You're just like this floaty thing, and you just gotta like figure stuff. It was hard for a while. We just didn't know what we had to do, and I was just like, this kind of like shifted from like all action to like now it's just
a little bit of spook.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
It's a decent game. I think going more into it would be pretty cool. It's got big boss battles and things like that, and the ammo system's really cool. Like shooting ghosts gives you like ammo for your ghost hunting guns.
Yeah.
You throw your traps and it comes at you, back at you like a boomerang. As it turns out, the guy playing the voice of the lead character is also the voice of one of the Animaniacs.
Yeah.
So we've got some AAA voice acting.
Raphael from Ninja Turtles.
So it's got a little bit of cred to it. It's a Namco game. I mean, that's a major publisher. This one has been kind of gaining traction in collecting circles recently, like where a lot of people are like starting to acknowledge that this one didn't get the love it needed on the first go around, but it's actually kind of a cool game. And again, dude, you're hunting ghosts, so it's like a more violent gun-based version of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I guess that would be the elevator pitch.
And I mean, I applaud Namco for doing something weird like this.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a big publisher, and they didn't play it safe with this one. They took a risk. I mean,
they tried to like basically make like a brand new IP, and that's what I mean, maybe they were planning like Ghost Hunter 2, 3, and 4. Maybe they were planning like a whole universe or whatever. It just never took off. But I think it's pretty sweet, man. I mean, I think it's worth the playthrough. It's definitely Halloween centric, so we recommend it.
Yeah,
check it out. So next up, we've got a title that is a Wii exclusive, Ju-On the Grudge, a haunted house simulator. You can see that it says there, rated mature, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Okay, so calling this a game, I think, is being kind of liberal because I mean, I guess it technically is one, because you can die and everything, like there are consequences and stuff, but it's kind of mostly on rails for the most part. Like you use the Wiimote to aim around, and basically you hold the trigger button to walk forward. Like you can't back up or anything like that, and there's no combats or anything like that. Like basically the only way you die is when you run out of flashlight batteries or if you miss a quick time event. Mm-hmm. So, excuse me, it's not really an extremely difficult game, but we were playing it downstairs earlier, and Miguel jumped a couple of times just on the little jump scares when they're, something flies out of, on the screen, like, or something like that.
About,
yeah, we got a couple. We turned out the lights to do it legit, and
that man's lying.
It got him a couple times. So in defense, dude, it is a legitimately creepy game. It scared me a couple times before, and one of the cool things you can do with this is if you really want to be an asshole and play with a friend, you can take the second Wiimote and you can use the A button to automatically activate jump scares. Which, if you guys are interested, I actually did a live stream on this in the old lounge where we played this game. I think we played it on Halloween. Like that was the Halloween live stream that year. And my buddy Tommy basically took the Wiimote and went downstairs to have a cigarette or something like that, and he was sitting there like activating it, so I never knew when it was coming. And I'm like, oh god, I gotta get the battery, like that, and the thing comes on screen and jumps at you. So it is kind of neat. This one's a little bit harder to get. This wasn't a big published run on the Wii. It was a later release.
It's an XC game.
Yeah, I mean it's more of like a simulator than it is really a game, but as far as like being Halloween centric, I mean, you're being haunted by the fucking Grudge spirit, man. Like the thing is trying to kill that little cat fucker, running around like that little bastard. You see that shithead running around. The chick answers her phone at one point. All I hear is like, So I mean, if the Grudge scared you, this is gonna scare the shit out of you. Like there's no two ways about that. So I think it fits the mold.
Yeah.
For Halloween, I mean, it's definitely got that kind of haunted house feel, and each level is apparently different. Like it's not an interweaving story or anything. Like you're like a different person in each scenario.
And they all die, you say?
Yeah, they all seem to die at the end. Like you finish the first level and the Grudge bitch gets you. So in the next one you're on to the next person, and I only got to the hospital level myself. I couldn't figure out what the hell I was supposed to do, and I ran out of flashlight batteries.
Yeah.
You do that, you die. So if you're feeling saucy and you want to check this out, you want to play like a genuinely creepy game, very atmospheric, a lot of jump scares and things like that, and you got $50 to burn, and you're a Wii sweat lord.
$50 to burn.
Ju-On the Grudge.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it has a live action intro.
It does.
Which I like.
It does.
I like live action stuff for some reason.
Shows them going inside the house,
Yeah.
just like the movie
Kind
and
of
shit.
like GTA 2 had live action.
Yeah. And then what happened?
I don't know.
Nothing. Because that game wasn't that good. So it's,
And then the game kind of looks like Dreamcast graphics.
It does. I mean, the Wii wasn't exactly a graphical powerhouse, so it was a little bit behind the curve on that. And
But it's still cool.
it is. I think it's more of a curiosity than it is anything else. Like, it's an interesting part of a game collection. But for the Wii guys out there who really love this shit, like this is one of their like go-tos.
Yeah.
So like, dude, this is one of the reasons we love the Wii is because of weird shit like this. And it is kind of weird that it's on the Wii. Yeah. It's on a Nintendo product, and it's like an M-rated, like, scare the fuck out of you game.
I guess they were trying to use the Wii remote stuff, take advantage of the Wii, because that's what you usually
There is motion controls, like, you gotta wave it around, and when the shit comes at you, you gotta go, like, oh, and your dude, like, runs away, so I think it's worth the play. I think you should check it out. If you collect for Wii, join the Grudge.
get it.
So, as previously seen last year, that definitely the more popular segment that we had on last year's top 5, or not top 5, but like 5 Halloween games to play. We mentioned 8 Eyes, which was definitely like the misfit, and I believe you called it the Fruitos of the 5 games that we played, like not quite Fruit Loops. It was like the generic.
It's like an off-brand.
Yeah, like if Castlevania's Fruit Loops, then like 8 Eyes was Fruitos. The generic shop, the generic grocery store brand.
Yeah.
So this next game is one that Miguel's bringing to the table called Illbleed.
For the Dreamcast.
For the Dreamcast, yes. This is a very strange game. We were playing this earlier, and Miguel warned me going into it, like, he's like, dude, I couldn't figure this shit out. I was like, maybe you have more luck than me. So I was like, alright, I'll try it. I don't know what the hell I was doing half the time. I know it has to do with, it's something to do with, like, kind of ghost hunting type stuff, where you're, like, thrown into a graveyard, and you gotta use, like, spectral goggles to find stuff, and then, like, you're in the middle of this weird town where there's, like, a horror blood cinema theater, and then there's a hospital with a really weird surgeon. Look like the hospital set up like fucking McDonald's, where you just like walk up, it's like, yeah, I'll take a number 4, spleen replacement or something. Like it's really weird, dude. Like this is just a fucking weird game.
It is a weird game.
It's Halloween themed, I think, because it's kind of got that spooky type of ambiance shit to it, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like, I mean, it's like, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean,
I don't know what kind of game it is, but
I don't know either.
I played this back when I first bought it years ago, and I remember going into a house, and I remember there was like a camera and traps, and then you lose if you don't set them out. I don't know, it was just so weird. Like, and I never went back to play this game because this game is just like you really got put in time to really understand this. So,
which we didn't do. It's just like, does it fit the mold, and is it kind of weird, and what can we say about it? That was our general criteria.
Yeah.
I would like to know more about it. Like, maybe this is like a secretly awesome game, and we just don't know enough about it. If it is, like, if this is one of your favorites, dude, leave us a comment and tell us about it. Like, what did we miss?
It's very niche, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to... I kind of felt like it was a little bit like Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
Because they had a bunch of camera stuff from what I remember, but I don't know. I don't even know who made this. Crazy Games made this. Because it's a crazy game.
Who the fuck are they? Never heard of them.
But yeah, this game is actually kind of expensive because it's one of the more unique Dreamcast games, and it was exclusive to the Dreamcast. So this game is like $100 now. But if you got the cash and you want to play something weird,
and you were bitching about my $50 game, when my $50 game is like a better game than this $100 game. And you're just like, we'll blow $50 on that. When you blow $100 on this turd, Jesus Christ!
I got this years. I got this like for cheap.
How much you pay for it?
I don't remember, man. This was probably like $20 back in the day.
All right.
I ain't paying no 100. I mean, that's how.
I fucking hope not.
That's how much this shit is now. But I remember seeing this in stores all the time for like $60. I was like, what the? I like the cover though, because it's really cool.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it has like
creepy,
a doll,
like, face.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Illbleed. Take your mileage may vary. I think I'm gonna give this one the Fruitos seal of approval for this year's 5 Halloween games. Like this one where it's like, yeah, like we're gonna let this one slide on a technicality, but damn, is it weird.
Yeah, it's very arcadey like too, with weird music.
Yeah, the music doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Where you're like, you're in like a graveyard and you think it'd be like spooky, and it's like dun 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 dun. And you're like, the fuck is happening right now? I don't know. You know what I think this game is? I think this game is like the fucking Joker movie, where the whole thing is like this bitch's slow descent into madness, and we're just like along for the ride. Like we're watching someone slowly go insane. Maybe it's like a brilliant game. We're just not smart enough to acknowledge it. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just gotta have time to play it, man.
Or it's just a piece of shit and we're overanalyzing it.
Probably that.
Probably. So, It'll Bleed. Check it out. So, thank you everyone so much for stopping by and tuning in to this. What is this? The 4th or 5th installment of this? I don't even remember. It's the second one with Miguel, I think.
Yeah. I think
is it?
So.
Yeah, I think it is.
Damn,
second one with you.
The year went by fast.
Yeah, I know, dude. It feels like we just did that like not that long ago. So, I mean, we were just, while we were doing these lists, guys, like while we were playing these games, like we were tossing the ball back and forth on like, you know, do we do this one? Do we do this one? Like, we're already kind of stacking up games for next year.
Yeah.
So we've got, you know, kind of a rough draft list of what we're going to cover next year. So if you guys like seeing these, leave us a comment. If there's one that you felt that we left off the list that we haven't covered in previous videos, dude, let us know. Like, leave a comment and say, like, dude, check this shit out. I love it when we hear about things like that, like little pieces of hidden gems. We're like, dude, this is like a fucking awesome horror game. You gotta check this out. Okay, tell me about it, dude. I can't know about all of them. I gotta have time to play games too. So, happy Halloween, everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks, System Psycho,
of course,
for stopping by. Wouldn't do this list without you, bro.
All the time.
And I guess we'll see you next Halloween.
Yeah. Peace out.